Cool. You ready?
Sir, no Ash Nelms today, bro.
We're cooked. Good. You needed a break from them, really.
I did, bro. That's why I didn't bring them, bro. I was not trying to drink tonight. But yeah, bro. Let's get to it.
Ooh.
Gary G. You know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always
Yep.
see you liking our clips and stuff. I always think like Gary V whenever I see
Yeah, mine is real name, not an alias though.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go. Hell yeah. You know Gary V's a Jets fans.
Oh, yeah, I know.
yeah.
I think, yeah. That's why, I think that's the only reason I know him. Because I found out he's a Jets fan that just be yelling at people all day. I'm like, damn, I love that guy. But yeah, you ready?
Sure.
All right, let's get into it. How you what, gang? It's Dino, and welcome to the latest podcast in the world, always hosted by yours truly, is Dino. We got the Dome Man in the building, and we got the OG Gary G in the building. How you what, gang?
What's happening with you?
I'm great, bro. I'm just happy you're here. I've heard great things about you. I've seen great work, and I'm excited to finally sit down and actually have a conversation with you.
Right on.
Yep.
On, man. You know you running a good circle, man. So
Appreciate it,
cool.
dog.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, an artist in the Indianapolis area. Now, are you born and raised here, or did you
Born
move
and
here?
raised, man.
Okay,
Born
cool.
and raised. I grew up on Brookside, right by Spades Park. And when I was 10, my mom got a house over on 34th Street, like right off by Forest Manor. So
Gotcha.
I was kind of in two neighborhoods at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. We don't see a lot of, I feel like a lot of the older people here that are doing stuff have moved out or moved here from somewhere else. So it's kind of cool to see somebody actually born and raised here
Right
doing
on.
great things.
Right on. Yeah, some old OGs out here, you know, to be put my boots on. They've been making it happen like since the late 80s, early 90s. So like my mentors, two of my mentors, Tony Radford and Bruce Armstrong and Majiza Holiday. So they all three in a group with me. We are Indy Arts. I know they all born and raised here.
Cool.
Still get it in they OGs. Bruce is like 82. You know, he's like my role model. So
Yeah.
I know some more, but that's, you know, three that I run with that I know is from here and was getting it in prior to me knowing any artist was here.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I went to I think the most recent We Are Indie Art show. That was, about a month or two ago.
Yeah, I think October at the Phoenix Theater.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
10th anniversary.
Gotcha. How did y'all come together, and what is y'all goal with the movement?
So basically Tony and Bruce and I think Majisa too, they used to be in a group. It was Indie Renaissance in the 90s.
Okay.
And they said that they had started looking, so now well over 10 years ago, they was looking for younger artists to kind of bring the vibe back they had. And they had invited a whole lot of us over to Tony's studio, which is, I'm in the same building now. But invited a bunch of us over there, and it's like 5 of us out the youngsters. They kind of stuck with them and stayed with them the whole time. So for me, it's like, you know, you learning because they passing the torch. They was already in the city before me, so people might see the group that I came up in as, oh man, y'all set it off. But it's really like we was talking to these old heads that been out here before social media. You know, they was doing bus trips. They was word of mouth, passing out flyers. So it's like I learned a lot from them. Tony also gave me my first chance to curate a show at the Central Library when I came with my hip hop anthology. What else is I gonna say with him? So he does Meet the Artist, and that's been going on for like 37 years or something like that. And what's crazy is I didn't even know this stuff existed, right? And then so when I fall into it and then to be a part of it a couple of times and then get to curate shows, it feel like you living in history at the same time. Yeah, you know, so it's cool but weird. But
Yeah.
yeah, like
That's dope, though.
been at it a minute, but So yeah, the group is really kind of like, man, it's more than just like a social club or just a basic art collective. It does kind of have a family feel to it. So at one point in time, I think we ran from 30s to 60s or 70s, and now it's like 40s to 80s. But then we all curate different shows throughout the year as far as our group shows. And then like in some of my shows, I had kids as young as 9 and 10, and then people well over 60, seasoned artists, kids is just now doing it, and just, a couple of artists that's in the neighborhood, or people might know them on their block. So I guess it's just learning that, you know what I'm saying, environment over the course of the time, like while they still here, you know what I'm saying? It's like they walk in libraries, more or less.
Got you. Yeah, you mentioned how they kind of pass the torch down to you, kind of like a older to younger thing. And you mentioned my group, my circle. That's kind of how I feel hanging out with y'all. Like, it's cool because, like, we get to be a part of y'all are history. Like, y'all have already made a name for yourself. And y'all kind of pass that torch down to us, and we get to be a part of that. We get to hang with y'all. We get to see how y'all throwing shows. So how important is it to be like a big homie and pass that mentorship down?
Man, I mean, I think it's highly important. Like, nobody really gets anywhere without having anybody to talk to, and like, especially like meeting kids. So it's like, man, for one, like little black kids, it'll be like they ain't never had nobody. Like, I didn't have nobody I knew, and then when I thought about it, shit, I didn't know no living artist. Period. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to be like, you can talk to somebody, or a kid can talk to you, or it's like social media, or somebody starting out, and they can be like, I want to grow up and I want to be an artist, and they can see you doing it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's trials and tribulations, like, but to me it's important because like hanging with you and Ty and them, and then even like Paul. So it's like generations, because I think I might be a decade older than Paul. Paul's a decade older than y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you got 3 generations hanging at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like that when I get to hang with like Tony or Bruce or some of the older artists, and then the younger artists come in, because I know Tony kicks it with Ty too. So it's like in some instincts, it's like, you about my kids' age, but I'm still hanging with y'all. We still having conversations about art is cool. Then you look at them, it's like they're like your grandparents or your parents' age. Like, so they like my parents and grandparents' age. So it's like, man, and everybody's kind of learning off of each other, and it's like ecosystems. And to me, I feel like that's how history is really made. Like, it takes the village, you know what I'm saying? So like,
I was just about to say that. I was loading. I was waiting for you to stop talking. I was going to say.
So like all of that. So it's like, y'all's podcast, you know what I'm saying? We in a small room, or whether it's a bigger studio. It's like everybody got an audience, and or it's a generation, or it's a bridge somewhere. And the more you collaborate and cross over into these different environments, you know what I'm saying, the more reach your voice can get, or people understand or can engage more, or they don't feel intimidated to be like, yo, man, how I start a podcast? How you do this? Because it's a little kid out there watching y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like I was watching something the other day, and it's like sooner or later we'll all have like our own media channels. You know what I mean? How you gonna get your ratings up? Collaboration.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's what this podcast is founded on, collaboration for sure. So
Yeah. So, yeah, it's all that, man. It's the each one teach one, and then looking like, the old heads tapped into us. So now I'm an old head. I'm still a youngster to somebody, but I'm an old head to somebody else. So it's like I got more time in the game here than some other people, or different experiences that I can share from. And it could be somebody younger that still got a different experience than you in the field you in. But it's like, if I don't talk to them, you ain't gonna learn from them. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's important, man. Just like to keep the cycle of all creativity and life going. It's like sharing ideals, or the space is just for people to explore the ideals.
Yeah, so that's one thing I kind of want to hit on. How do you view, I guess, the entire art scene in Indianapolis back in the day compared to now?
Well, it's changing a lot. at times it's not where I need it to be,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel good to be a part of it.
Okay.
And it's kind of almost like, we talked about it years ago, or just different artists. It's almost like if you think of like the Harlem Renaissance or the hip hop in the early '80s, or like the movement of arts like the Basquiat's and Warhols and Keith Haring's and all them, and you like, they didn't know what they was gonna be. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
grow up as years later they passed on, and like nobody knows where they gonna be. So it's like now we can see this stuff and we got goals. Like, I want to do this. I want to do this fair. I want to go here. Um, yes, I don't know. It's like, I think it just all connects and correlates, and it's kind of like, there's been an art scene here, but it's not like an art scene like a New York or LA or Miami or Chicago, you know what I'm saying, where it's just thriving nonstop and the world's coming here, but it's a lot of talent here, that surpasses, I think, a lot of the bigger cities in some aspects. And it's kind of like, if you just want to be a part of it. So like, I know even the work I'm doing, even if I don't see it all, it starts creating opportunities for somebody else to come in behind me or with me, and it just to grow more. So it's like, I don't really feel like I'll get to see the full apex of my career if it goes like I want it to go. It'll be like a Basquiat or a Warhol or something. It'll be like, what did I leave behind? Did I leave a legacy behind? Like, do they remember me for what I do? So that's kind of like the goal. Like, the only way to truly be immortal, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Dive into that craft, or as long as they know me, I can keep going. So
Facts. I
yeah.
like that. So, back in the day, what started it for Gary G? What got you into art?
Man, so in the beginning, they just gave me a piece of paper. It was like sacks and envelopes, and I was just drawing on everything. But I had some of my cousins that would draw, older cousins, especially my cousin Kevin. Man, he drew just like the comic books, and then he would give me the comic books. And first you start out tracing the pages, and then you move in. I'm drawing my own characters. So it's that, I would say, like a lot of album covers, especially like Parliament Funkadelic album covers and stuff when I was a little kid, cartoons, just pop culture in general. But something about when hip hop came into the play, it was like, I was supposed to be a fad, and it's only supposed to last 10 years. And when I thought about it, it hadn't been here my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So just culture in general, I think it just influenced me. Like, growing up in my grandparents' house, so shit, my mom and them had a big family. It's 11 kids, you know what I'm saying? So different age groups. I got different cousins. A lot of them was like 10 years older than me. Were hanging my grandmothers, uncles, stuff like that, within 10, 15 years older than you. So I'm catching on to and picking up the stuff that they into. So like black belt theater, karate, the black exploitations, all this stuff. It was like, as a little kid, I was kind of already in the stuff that was in my era or a little before it. So, just inspired and influenced by a lot. But I was always drawing. I think by the time I got in the 6th grade, my mom brought me a professional art kit, or like a junior professional art kit. We had them long Christmas breaks. I just did everything in the book, in the box, And then you had to literally read a book to see how to do the stuff. So I'm reading a little book, learning how to do stuff, kind of teaching myself. I remember doing an oil painting a sitting bull, and took it to my teacher at the end of the thing, Mr. Sullivan. He was like, "How you do this? Who helped you?" I was like, "I did it myself." Like, then by the time I got in like 7th and 8th grade, I went to 101, which is Harshman Junior High now. I was taking a lot of the art classes, and they had a scholarship every semester for a 7th and 8th grader that you could go to Heron for Saturday school. And at first they like, "You can win the contest." I'm like, "Well, I want to go to Saturday school." And then it was like, "It's for art." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I won that semester, like, contest every semester in junior high. Then I ended up, I was the first black kid. It's weird because it was like 84, 85 to go to the Summer Arts Institute in IU. And that was cool because I learned like other stuff. took a lot of art classes in high school, but I had one teacher, Mr. Price was cool as hell. When I see him, he's still cool, like probably one of my favorite art teachers in life. But he was cool. And we did like album covers. It was one of the first projects we got to do. So growing up off comic books and album covers, that shit was dope.
That's fire.
But by the time I got to the sophomore year, we had this dude, Mr. Brown, and he didn't like me for whatever reason. He gave me hell. And I was airbrushing on clothes, trying to be like the Shirt Kings and Dapper Dan. And he was like, that's a waste of talent. And it was like commercial art and sign painting. I think I transferred to Arlington, and I was still doing art, but man, by the end, I ain't gonna say I'm a delinquent, but I was just like, man, just in school doing whatever, you know what I'm saying? When I was in the Army, basic training, after that, we got to do a T-shirt for basic training, and some of us got to come up with designs, and they picked mine.
That's
so
fire.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Then kind of wherever I've been in life, I've just been drawing. But it wasn't until after, man, I got locked up and the conviction got overturned. But while I was in there, I started drawing again, reading on a regular. You know what I'm saying? And when I came out, I ended up selling hair products, was doing hair. So I went to hair school. Then I'm in a shop. Then while I'm in the shop, I'm like, man, I need flyers and design work. So people was like, oh, you should go to school for graphic design. So I'm a disabled vet, so I was using this Chapter 31 to go to school. And it helped me with my kids. I had kids. I couldn't really work a regular job.
Gotcha.
Because my disability, so it was messed up with my knees and back. So I was like, dang, so going to school was it. I was doing the hair stuff, but it started messing with me over time. But I went to school for graphic design. I ain't know nothing about computers, man. Like Nike, Apple and PC was like Nike and Adidas to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't even make sense.
They still are right now.
Yeah, I'm confused. But long story short, I was in there struggling. I was doing good in some of the classes, but struggling in some of the other computer classes. And they did this thing like midterms where you was in the design or department, you could go down to the fine arts department. So I went down there for a week, just did a bunch of classes. And by the end of the week, they was like, where you come from? Like, oh, Viscom. And then me and the department head talked, Stephanie Lewis Robinson, and she was like, what are you doing up here? I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to be a starving artist. And she looked at me and laughed and said, you could be a starving designer if that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. And she's like, well, look at your transcripts Monday and see about you coming over here to the dark side. You can come over here with us, the fine arts department. So I'm like, all right, cool. We go in there. When she read my transcript, she's like, baby, you came too far for me to just let you quit. So if you stay in this program and finish, I'll let you in the fine arts department. So now I'm at Ivy Tech, but I'm getting 2 degrees. So it's almost like I done been there 5 years to get these 2 degrees. I was like, I was done. And then Stephanie and my other professor, that's my homie now too, Hector Del Campo, and Hector was like, no, Mano, you need to do more. And Stephanie's like, oh, you need to go farther. And I'm like, I'm trying to quit. I'm done. Like, no, you need to keep going. So I transferred to Heron to get my bachelor's, which ended up being cool since I went to the Heron Saturday school. And then the IU Summer Arts Institute, Heron is actually part of IU. So it's kind of like a full circle moment to come back, right? And then, so I was already doing like shows like while I was at Ivy Tech, like coffee houses, breweries, getting a little group show here and there. So I was just doing the stuff while I was already in school, because when I went back, I was like in my 30s. So I'm like, man, if this is what I'm going to school for, I can't be like, let me wait till I graduate to start doing what I'm doing.
Was it your professors that got you into that, or?
Man, in a sense, yes and no. So like, you know, you meet other artists and you listen to the professors, and it's kind of like when you doing something and you studying your craft and you got an opportunity to participate in something or see people that are doing what you're doing, right? So that's like you doing podcasts, but you get to meet people that's doing podcasts on a level higher than you, or somebody that's out there now, like a Gillian Wallow, you know what I'm saying? Or
shout out 520 niggas, bro.
Yeah, 520 here in Nap. They got the first shoe deal, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you get an opportunity to be with 520, and it was like, hey man, gang, y'all come over here with us. If you don't go, that's stupid, because you're not gonna learn, or you're not gonna get to go to another level because you got an opportunity to be like, hey, we in this, or it's a podcast conference, y'all should go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like, man, you should study and be a student of what it is you want to do.
Gotcha.
And if you really love it, you're gonna do it anyway. But yeah, for me it kind of all, overlapped. So it's like I started doing the shows and stuff, so I'm learning along the way. You know what I mean? I can make mistakes early. I remember in the beginning, like nobody really knew who I was. I can do 3 shows in one night. I got a piece here, 2 pieces there, and up. How you gonna do this? I can just stand for an hour. So then for me, I remember this one cat I talked to, I ain't gonna call him out no more, but I had managers for a minute, and dude was trying to get me to change my whole style. Like, I come through with my Kangos on, bucket hat, the hoodies. Like, it's like, oh, you need to tone down your work, and you need to put on a suit on First Fridays. And at the time, man, I got a kid in junior high, one in high school, and I'm in college. Like, I can't afford no new suit every First Friday. I like them, don't get me wrong, but and I'm not gonna wear the same suit every First Friday. So, like, nah, I'm from the hip hop generation. I can do it come as I am. I grew up like watching J.J. Evans from Good Times, so the bucket hat was just synonymous, and I was like, I'm gonna just start wearing the Kangol. So at first I only went back like a color or 2. So every time they see me, I had on the Kango. So then it got to the point, oh shit, it got to the point, I made a mess, dude.
No, it's not
the
how
first
you have to
time,
show
bro.
it if something's not spilled.
Yeah. So it kind of got to the point though, like, so they started, oh, the dude in the bucket hat, oh, the guy in the Kango, oh, Gary G. And then I kind of looked at it as like a market employee. If you see my name on the south side, downtown, and somewhere else in town, all in the same night, well, this dude must be somebody. His name's all over the place. Okay. So I just kept coming around, and I was looking at who's out there, and it's like not to mimic or copy anybody, but see like how are they moving, how they making moves. Yeah. And then I got to the point where I just start asking questions, because it's like, well, shit, man, this is what I'm trying to do. I can't just wait to get out to figure it out. So while I'm taking classes, I'm still out in the real world actually applying what I'm doing already, and then just started creating opportunities. So by the time that I graduated, not my first solo show, but the first solo show that was a banger, I got to do Art and Soul with the Arts Council. And then I'm like, oh, this is my first solo show where it's leveled. I might get a little change to do it. I got a stage. It's like, this is what I've been working for. And I started mapping out this show. And at the time, the people was Ernest and Shannon. So I'm talking about my show, and Shannon looked at me and she said, Gary, that's cool, but me and Ernest have been talking, and we think you should do an all 3D show. So I'm like, how am I gonna do that? Like, I just did this while I was a Heron doing the ceramics. Like, my primary degree is drawing in ceramics. So I've been drawing my whole life, but I paint and can do other stuff, and then ceramics was something that just put me in, and it started working, right? So my professor Corey used to do the skulls, Andrew did these characters, Leslie did like transfers and designs. So it's just like, man, I just started kind of developing my own style to get to where I am now. But so in the beginning, I'm like, all the work I did at Heron, and I done graduated. So where am I gonna do this work at? And then they tell me, oh, the Brickyard. And I'm like, the Brickyard? Forget, I done went there to a field trip. So it's like 60th and Guyan Road. So real deal, what's crazy is I done got into ceramics by accident. It works for me. All the stuff is made here in the city. Most of the stuff. Some of the clays come from other places. They make clay glazes, the kilns, slab rollers, wheels. I don't use the wheel though, but all this stuff's made here in the city. And at the time, it was before COVID, so they had like open studios, and they stay open later on Tuesday. So I started going up there and just start doing work in the gallery, the studio there, firing it, taking it home, bringing it back, getting it done like that. And so my first show was with the M was all 3D. So it didn't take off like it has now. So this was like 2017, 2018 when I did that first solo, like to that level. So I already had years in prior to that. So did that one, and then I started traveling with them pieces. So I did a show in Philly, but the first show I took, like one of my skulls, The King is Black, I took it to New York. It was these raw artists. So I went to Queens. Then I ended up taking it to Brooklyn. I ended up taking it to Frisco after it left the Arts Council. In between that and going to Brooklyn, it was at a private show at a architectural firm. So it like just started being my most traveled piece, and I was moving around with it, and people was like, "Oh man, it's different. Where's this?" And I knew I was cool because in New York they're like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "Indianapolis." Well, how long you been here? Today. And they're like, huh? It was a pop-up shows. Same thing happened on the West Coast. So I was like, okay, I got something. At least they checking me out, which I kind of figured I would. And then, man, like it never sold. It just sat there. And then it was literally just sitting in a case in my studio. And when the first Butter came around, it's like after doing the murals and all that at the same time. So that's 2020. So a lot of just crazy stuff happened to kind of like help add to the layers. Like when the riots happened downtown after George Floyd and the buildings were boarded up, I ended up getting a symphony center, and it was like 11 panels, and I did 11 panels in like 8 days. And the one center panel was We the People. And so We the People ended up getting brought by the State Museum. So now this is my first museum piece.
Fire.
And then we do the mural on Indiana Avenue, and so that's the Black Lives Matter. It gets defaced, then it goes. Then we come in with the 18 now. So I'm with the 18. We not officially called the 18, but everybody was calling us the 18. So then go from that mural to the controversy with Newfields at the time about the core white audience, and then that shows off. Then we back on to get a new director. We do the show when Dr. B come, so we do We the Culture, you know what I'm saying? Then, or in between that, right between, then Butter's coming, so you got the first Butter. When that first Butter hit, so it's before we do the We the Culture show. And when we talking about what you gonna do, everybody's painting or got different styles, and most of the time, like I do 2D work, but a lot of the major shows are like the 3D work because they ain't seen nothing like it. So when I pulled that out, it was like, man, you got to show this in Butter. So after that, it just went on. Every year, it was me in the 3D. So now I just got to the point that I was like, man, all right, I got to evolve. Because sometimes stuff happens, and like you doing something, and you think you're in a good position, and the opportunity comes, and they tell you no. So a whole lot of no's have actually turned into what made my work change or get stronger. Like somebody told me no, or like I had a chance to do the airport, and I curated a show, so I didn't want it to just be me, and I was gonna do my skulls, and I was like, you can't do no skulls, because people associate that with death and fear of flying, and you can't have this and you can't have that, so I'm like, damn. So what that did was make me go into how can I change this in the future when I run into that problem, it won't be the same problem. And I started making the characters. So I'm like, well, if I made a skull, I can make a face. So then I started making the characters. Then I started feeling like that's all they was letting me do. So I created a piece, called it Oops Upside Your Head, where I drew on it with like pastels, and it looked like graffiti or an old relic, but it's new at the same time. And then Newfields brought that one.
That's fire.
So I was like, okay, so that's my second museum piece. And it's like just daring to keep trying something different and push myself out the box contextually. So I guess just really like trial and error in the course of time just helped shape me.
Fire. Yeah. It's fire as hell. Oh,
Right
I
on.
want to get into your process because I've seen a lot of your 3D work, but there's work inside the work. So how do you, first off, how did you come up with that? And second, how did you execute?
Well, I mean, some things are kind of like subconsciously or consciously you look at things and you think of like just looking into something. So sometimes I was like, well, this space is just empty. How can I draw you in more? So for me, it starts becoming the context and the layers of, I find the balance of the street art aesthetic and the gallery aesthetic and just merge them together. And then some of that, it's like, all right, let me give you something that you're not used to even more. So if the eyes are open and the heads are bigger, and there's still stuff that I want to do that I haven't figured out, Because I used to say I feel like I was in my infancy stage with the ceramics. Now I feel like I'm in my toddler stages.
Okay.
So I'm still growing
Yeah.
myself, right? But to put more in, so when you looking in, you actually see, or it becomes an environment, or it's immersive, or like the text is layered on the back. Like one of my pieces, I took it out of the gallery now and put it back in stores, but it's broken, and I call it Humpty Dumpty in the Hood. So when you're looking through his glasses, it's a beach scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's like calm and relaxing. But then on the back, it's a quote, and it says that all of us are broken at some point in time, but it's how we put them pieces back together again. So that's all on the back. That's the piece. Well, no, that's not the one with the broken on it, but that's the oops upside your head that Newfield's got. So then it's layered to where it's like it says the same thing repeatedly over broken pieces. And it kind of happened with the King is Black ones, right? Like that was a piece I was working on. I had to have it for that show because sometimes I still try to work fast.
Yeah.
And ceramics is a patience thing, so I'm learning a balance. But I would get these little fine cracks in them. And so I looked at the same way because it's real regal when it's a king, but it's like all of us are broken at different times. So that's prior to me even seeing that quote. Or like we done been through life and life beats you up or breaks you and our scars make us unique, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's kind of like the imperfections make us who we are. So instead of trying to be super perfect and pristine in my work, even though I'm going in a gallery aesthetic, I'm like, let the authentic, natural, the street side shine through. So it's just,
Facts.
yeah,
I
it's like
that.
a merger and a balance. Like, because we all deal with duality, you know what I'm saying? Like I said a couple of times, I had a piece double talk. And it's like two faces split, three eyes, two different faces though. And it's like, because if you talking like we talking now on the camera, will be different, probably even if we ain't on camera, even if it's similar. Y'all talking to each other, it would be different than when I was in the room. If we talking when another elder's in the room, you're gonna talk totally different. If it's a little kid, you'll talk different. If it was your girl, you'll talk different than you talking to your guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it just be like the context of how we the same person, but we got these dualities of shifts depending on where we at or who we talk to, even being the same person.
That's true. I feel like I go through that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially I don't know. I'm not really a social person. So I
Yeah.
just have to force myself.
But
to
even
kinda-
on that, like you gonna talk to your mother different than you talk to somebody in the streets.
That's a fact too.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we all deal with like multiple sides of who we are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I started looking at my work.
I like that.
Yeah, it's psychological without being psychological.
I feel that. So I want to switch into the brand real quick. I see your logo all over the place. It's on your studio, of course, on your merch. So when did building a brand outside the art come into the game?
So I think for me, it kind of went synonymously. I think like everything happens for a reason. Like I said, even though I was struggling in design classes, I learned a lot, and it gives me a different perspective. All brands are recognized by a logo. When I looked at it, like I was into the comic books, all my heroes had a logo or a signet. It's something that identified them, right? Same thing with hip hop. When I started looking, I used to flip in the covers. All the good groups got a logo or a certain font. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, man, so if I marry these two audiences, this is what I need. Then well, what does it become? At first it was going to be like a cartoon, just a head of me wearing the Kango, because I'm wearing the Kangos everywhere. Then over time, then with my homie Omar, me and Omar, and that's when we first started hanging out. I was like, man, you should do this, you should do that. And then I kind of created this logo, but it was solid. He was like, man, can I do something? I was like, sure. He put these little cuts in there, like a couple of little cuts to separate the beard and the hat. And it was like, it took the logo to even another level from where I was going to be just a cartoon to me to this. And then it becomes more of an icon versus just a logo. And then I was just wearing it. So the same thing happened, how I get it out there. So now it's the dude in the bucket hat with the logo on his shirt, which I kind of felt like, I don't know if y'all ever heard the show Laverne and Shirley. So man, it was a show, comical, a spinoff of like Happy Days in a sense. But you had Laverne and Shirley, they roommates in Milwaukee, work at a brewery. Crazy dudes, Lenny and Squeaky, always going on in their apartment. But Laverne always wore an L on all her clothes. All her clothes had this like cursively like gothic L. So when I started doing this, I started laughing like, man, I'll be running around looking like Laverne from Laverne and Shirley and shit. And they like, the hell you got on your shirt? And I didn't expect nobody to buy it. But then people say, man, that's dope. What is that? And then I just kind of tell them the story of me and the Kango. Then me and the Kangos are synonymous too. Like I begged for one in junior high. I got a blue Kango, had these Georgetown Hoyas and this little blue and black like checkerboard jacket. So in a sense, I'm gangbanging without even knowing I'm gangbanging when I go to school. In the neighborhood, I'm cool. But going to school, it's a whole different thing. Yeah. So it's like I'm getting jumped about this Kango and all this all the time. So I had to fight for the hat. At the same time, I'm an artist. Yeah. So it's like my thinking cap and my J.J. Evans. So it's like a, badge of honor. I got to come home with it or I got to fight my mom. So it's like I kept the hat, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Till that one of the homies borrowed, his cousin took it from him. I'm like, then they give me a beat up one. I'm like, man, to replace it. So I got in trouble finally, but for a couple of years, that was it. And like I said, it kind of came back. So at the same time in junior high, the break dancing, the hip hop is booming because it's like the golden age, the golden era for real. So it had already been around since I was a little kid growing into it. Now it's like, you got Run DMC, LL, the Fat Boys, Roxanne Shante, UTFO, the Wars, Roxanne Wars, and mixtapes start coming, the big ghetto blasters. So it's like all of this is like sequential to the artwork I'm doing. And then at the same time, like Fab Five, Freddy, Basquiat, Keith Haring, Warhol, they popping. So it's like I'm seeing the art at times and videos and stuff, but I'm not really knowing who they are until life goes. And when people be like, Basquiat, and call them, what the hell Basquiat? And I know this dude work. Hearing them, I know they work because it was all through hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it in the videos and in the comic book. So for me, it was kind of like the merger of music, and I used to rap too, but I ain't pursue that like I do the art. But it's like the merger of music and arts and the culture and the comic books was like, I gotta have a logo. I gotta have an icon. Yeah. And then I look at it like if it was beamed up like the Batman logo, like these lights. If I can have it shining in the air one day and it's a show coming on, it's just like all part of the, just all part of it.
Yeah. Dog. That's fire. So I wanted to ask you one thing. We saw what you've done. What do you want to do in the future?
Oh man, it's a lot of crazy stuff I want to do. I want to do more shows like in some of the major markets and cities and eventually international. But one of the things I would love to do here is like an immersive show, like an experience, like you walk in. So it's almost like you in my thoughts, but you got different pieces of the art or it's, interactive. Like a whole little immersive environment or world. So it'd be 2D, 3D, 4 and 5. You know what I'm saying? Because you see it, feel it, hear it, touch it, might even taste it in that joint because the food was in there cooking right. But and then had a little exit through the gift shop style.
Have you talked to Ty about this?
Nah, we ain't talked about that yet.
Y'all should.
Yeah.
We had a very similar conversation.
Yeah. It's a lot of little crazy stuff. Now on that tip, and that's one I like to do with just my head, but I also got another thing where, man, I like to get some artists together, and it's a concept where it would almost be like each one of us is setting up a room, and it's built around the piece they got. You know what I'm saying? Or they attitudes or lifestyle. So I just think of a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah. When people say, what's your ultimate goal? This shit's always changing because it's really like not a glass ceiling or you start seeing stuff as a creative that you didn't even think yourself was possible. Like a different conversation will spark something else, you know what I mean? So like even when you say, man, you talk to Ty about that? I'm like, nah, so we ain't talk like that. We might have a conversation and then something else comes, from that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I see where sometimes like it don't have to be a collective that goes forever, but like I got a lot of different ideals and spanning it, like just like how we was together Friday, like Ty Pope and Omar could slide right into that concept perfectly, along with some other artists that I already noticed established in my group, and then maybe even somebody else is older, and who knows, somebody younger. But it just be all these crazy twists, man. Like the styles of just the people, they kind of coordinate and overlap.
That's what I like though. I'm still new to the art scene, really. I kind of just got into it when I met Ty, and that was about a year ago. But I feel like most of the times we see art at these big galleries, it don't really be that much like soul or passion in them. At least from what I see, maybe I'm not looking or I don't know the person or whatever. But when I look at y'all art, I see a backstory. I see where y'all come from. I see who y'all are through y'all art. So I think having y'all in the same room, having a whole bunch of artists that really care about what they do, I think having the different rooms of different personalities would be insane.
Yeah.
So that's
'Cause, see, really, like art is subjective and selective. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like it appeals to you because it appeals to you. Like some people just like some stuff because it's textbook or culture and the media tells you you're supposed to like this. But then there's always stuff that you just like. You know what I'm saying? Because you relate to it or it connects to you, and like that's really supposed to be the thing with art. It's like you can be preserving culture and history on one aspect, but then another aspect is like the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like, man, I love this piece. It spoke to me. It just caused me. Like, it was something in it that was like it reminds you of you. So that's when the reflection or reflectiveness comes in. And some stuff in like museums and different stuff, like we're told to like, or it's a value because it's been around so long. But when you look at it, it's like, yeah, it's cool, but this shit is boring. You know what I'm saying? Or,
yeah,
I ain't feeling it because I don't identify with it, or I just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I know people, and some people gonna be mad when they hear it, but like I see cyber trucks, and I'm like, that's cyber trash. But the other people, they love them. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They crazy about it. So it's like you can't tell somebody what to like. Like I know a bunch of people like, man, it's just horrible. There's like, man, it's like I want one. I want one. So
yeah.
it's like it's like, man, it's all subjective. Like, or why do we want it? Somebody might want it because it's a status symbol. Somebody else might want it because of the price. Somebody want it because their favorite rapper or singer got it, or they athlete. And then somebody don't like it like me. It wasn't just because I don't like Elon Musk. I didn't never like the truck. But then he's associated with it. That's when I started saying cyber trash. But art's the same way. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, some people love Whistler's mother. And other people like, ugh, why? Mona Lisa the same way, you know what I'm saying? I was watching a Rothko painting. This is worth millions. But essentially, it's just a square on a rectangle and two different tones of paint overlapping.
Yeah.
But somebody else is gonna say, "Well, Mark Rothko painted this, and it's this in this period," and so it's value to them. Like it's weird, but that's art. So like, it's people that love my work. I know some people that probably hate it. Like, what is this? I don't get it. It's cool. It ain't for you. It's for us to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, and I think really like in this day and age. So like even so, you saying with me and Ty, not even just knowing us personally, but you can connect like it's in your era, it's in your lifetime. And then so like what you see in the piece is different than what somebody from say rural Kansas will see. Cause it ain't for them. And like really Indiana on overall is like we are art wise, like I said, it's a lot of talent, a lot of styles, but overall it is classical portraits and contemporary landscapes, or you know what I'm saying, classical portraits and classical landscapes. So it's like the old timey stuff that you probably like, it's cool, but I don't relate to that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So then here comes the new, and so it's like a change, man. Kind of like music and when the trends start changing, and I mean art changes. So like, some people are heavy into AI art. Some people appreciate real art. Some people it's a blend of art and technology now. But it's like, how do you use it? Are you just stealing somebody's work, or did you create something new? So yeah, it's just ever changing, man. This life of us as creatives.
Facts. Fuck with it. So the last thing I had, we kind of touched on it earlier, but you mentioned leaving a legacy. So let's say when everything's gone, when we're all gone, what do you want the world to view Gary G as?
Man, sincerely, like when I was alive, that I'm cultivating creativity in the community, and them communities can expand. But like, I was serious about my work. My work has meaning and value, or even the context of it. It's like it should be taught in higher education later. That's how I feel about it. Leaving a mark on legacy. Like I said, I started with just creating pieces, and now they got a name, which is New Artifacts, and it's like it's a play on the past, present, and the future. So if I could remain in the past, present, and future conversations when I'm not here, and or leave something on for my family, so like my sons, nieces, and nephews, and if any of them have kids, like it can keep going on. You know what I'm saying? So that like, yeah, my work is serious, and that I'm up here with the contenders, or I'm one of the ones who helped shape the context and history of Indiana art. Yeah, that would be dope. You know what I mean? That shit would be dope. And not to be like, he died penniless with a missing ear like Van Gogh and shit. But I ain't gonna do that anyway. But yeah, man, just to be able to sustain and do this is like, I'm grateful. Like, it's a childhood dream. It's a challenge, you know what I'm saying? But I was in the era where they said, you can't do that, you gotta get a real job. But now it's kind of like, I create jobs in a sense, even for myself, even if it's only a contract for a little bit of time. It's like, I actually get paid off of my intellectual property and imagination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just like, that's a blessing, man.
That's inspiring to hear, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire. But I'm cool. Jackie, you had anything you want to add?
Good, bro. I'm just over here listening.
I'm
bro.
like, Jake been chilling.
Jake, he get locked in,
Jake
bro.
been chilling.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like he soaks up game crazy. So I mean, he's a business owner himself. So
He asked some questions, but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, man.
It's a whole different world for me. I'm a big like numbers guy, like numbers business, but like Ty, you, Paul, listening to you guys is like, it's a whole different world, bro. I like it. That was cool.
Right on. Yeah, I need to crunch more numbers myself, but yeah, a lot of shit, man. It's kind of like just doing it, like just do what feels right, and it's like having that faith and letting go. Like when we learn to ride the bike without the training wheels, man, shit, you might fall, but shit, just get back up. You know what I'm saying? So
That's how you learn.
yeah, that's one guy with it. Like just keep going. Luke Cage say always forward. I think about past shit, but then I think about always forward. I was like, man, just power our way through it. Yeah.
For sure. Super fire.
Well, this was the How You What podcast featuring Gary G. Make sure you go ahead and leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for your boy. And we will catch y'all next week. Peace. Cool.